Live. Hey everyone, hello, welcome. We are live. We're playing Warhammer 40k. We're actually going to be trying out the Imperium Maledictum game. I have with me an awesome cast that will travel, not necessarily the stars, but will travel with us for these next couple of weeks on a very simple mission of just gathering taxes, which go without a hitch. But I am Simon at Wonderingham. I use he, him pronouns. I will be the game master for this short little campaign. I have with me, like I said, a bunch of players. I will let you introduce your character and what they look like and everything in game when we start. But if you can tell us who you are and like a very brief what you're playing. I'm going to throw the mic at Lynn. Just
hey everyone. I'm Lynn. Today. And tonight I am playing Livia Ada Mateus, a Claire from the from a Shrine World, now working in this nice little group here.
Let's keep going clockwise with Yutai.
Hello, I'm Yutsai, he, him. I am playing Lax. He's just a guy.
Very apt description, indeed. And last we have Trooper.
Sorry about that. I was muted, but I also have 3 monitors, and then I didn't know where my cursor was. I am Trooper SJP. Hello. I hope you are all doing well. I will be playing Zariel, and I am a paper pusher. I like to push papers, quite a lot. I was an orphan who likes to push papers. I also have a tattoo on my head, but still trying to work that out at the moment. Yes, that's me. I'm happy to be here because I know that the Warhammer 40k universe is very serious and not at all satire. So I'm really excited for that. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's me. Yep.
Well then, let us transport ourselves to a quaint little sector of the galaxy. Deep in Segmentus Pacificus lies a place called the Macarian sector. And I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, but I will use that for the rest of the game. And in the Macarian sectors, there are a great many planets who are utterly and completely devoted to the God Emperor. They were brought back into the fold of the Imperium by Saint Macarius during the Great Macarian Crusade. This happened a long time ago. The problem with the Macarian sector, and a big part of this segment of the galaxy, is that giant nebulae tend to appear and hide or obfuscate the presence of a planet from anybody else for years, decades, centuries at a time. And at some point, these nebulae move. Sometimes there is nothing left on that poor defenseless world who is left to fend for themselves, for ages bereft of the light of the Emperor. And sometimes contact is reestablished. And in the vast darkness of space, amidst the stars, flies this humongous spaceship. The point of the pen. It's a Administratum spaceship. On board, aside from the Voidborn crews who operate the ship itself and who live and die within its confines, most everybody else is some form of clerk, working tirelessly to catalog, to fill out, to send out paperwork from the many planets of the Macarian sector back to Terra and vice versa. The point of the pen does have a small, say, military arm. The job of an administratum clerk can sometimes be full of peril, as is the life of just about any citizen in the Empire. This one has a small detachment of, let's call it a security force, arbitrators and forces. And as we pan through one of the tall, cathedral-like windows, the viewing bays of the ship onto the bridge, there are 8 of these enforcers standing up to attention in a cramped corridor. The light, sort of a sick shade of orange, pipes hissing here and there, scalding one of the guards' ear, but there's nothing they can do. They have to stand there and take it. We hear the clunk, clunk, clunk of metal boots walking down the corridor. As the figure approaches the guards, they salute, calling the person walking to them High Prefectus. The Emperor protects. He motions for them to be at ease. Looks around at the enforcers and asks if the material has been delivered. They agree. To which he replies, "You are dismissed." He opens a heavy metal door that isn't even connected to a cogitator. It's not one of those fancy automatic doors. The point of the pen is an old ship. Not archaic, but to some extent could use some love. Beyond the metal door is an octagonal room, in the center of which is an octagonal table made of strong plasteel, marked in various places around its circumference with seals dedicated to the Emperor, dedicated to the backbone of the Empire, the Adeptus Administratum. Quotes from popular, say, revered tax collectors, tithe collectors from ages past adorn the rest of the table, upon which paperwork has been scattered. There's a hololight projector in the middle, but it hasn't seen any use in maybe a good 400 years. The current High Prefectus has never seen it work, for that matter. This man now will pull back the camera and look at who it is. And despite the heavy metal boots that clanged down the corridor, the person wearing them is surprisingly springy. Somewhat tall for a human. Not necessarily a mutation per se, but this man, without the ostentatious hat he's currently wearing, which I'll get to in a minute, is about 7 feet tall. He is wearing these black and white robes with checkered bordered. A gray cowl with a long, about 1.5 feet high, sort of a toque covers his head. He doesn't appear to have any hair, any body hair whatsoever. He is bereft of eyebrows, of eyelashes, of facial hair. His eyes are sunken. The area around is purple and marked with creases, as if this person is squinted most of their life. Upon their back sits a large brass machine that spews out constantly rolls of paper. In front of him, located around his midsection, hung by the skull of his predecessor, crested in an equally ornate brass box from which protrudes a few wires, is connected a typewriter. And the man just types a few things on the typewriter as he comes in and observes the room. Aside from the big octagonal table, someone brought in a tray. Tray on wheel, upon which is a cylindrical steel container with an opening held by 2 skeletal hands gilded in gold. Next to this apparatus is 3 mugs. Ceramite mugs. Upon which is written, "Today is a good day." The High Prefectus walks to this tray, picks up the first mug and pours hot recaf from the coffee machine. He then sets the mug down and proceeds to record on his typewriter the precise quantity down to the nanoliter of how much recaf was put in that mug. He does the same thing for the second and for the third. He ponders for a moment, realizing that one of them is just slightly more full than the rest. And as he wonders what should he do about it, the door to this room, to the conference room aboard the on the bridge, opens, and the person to whom this generous cup of recaf is supposed to go enters. And that will be the first among you players who want to describe their character. Who is first on bridge?
It's my character, I know it. Because I'm very excited about things. Dang it. I think during break, I'm going to fix it, chat. So my character walks in. My character is young, 21 years old, fresh-faced, very sharp-looking, uniform, completely on point, completely clean-shaven head, so that everything is perfect. Like baby fresh-faced, no facial hair, because I don't know if you noticed this, but the High Prefectus also has no body hair. So I also have no body hair, at least visible. It just takes a lot more time to shave it off because I'm actually quite hairy, but I make sure I don't have any because I want to sort of be like the high perfectus because, you know, it's pretty amazing. Anyway, so I'm in all of my uniform glory. I imagine that the thing that people would most notice about me, though, of course, is that I have a tattoo on my forehead, just right across my forehead, of the Imperial Aquila. You know, the two-headed eagle, the symbol of our God Emperor. Our God Emperor who protects and who gives us the chance to serve him and raise ourselves out of obscurity and into greatness. And I also have a bit of a computer. It's like data, it's electronics. I have no neck. That is also true. I have many things. I do not really have a neck, and I am very burly, like huge muscles. But I do computers. I'm not like a fighter type. You know, I'm not a grunt. You know, I'm not a space marine. I'm up here. I do realize you are seeing a lot of weapons near me, around me, on me. But I mean, I'm actually really good. I'm really excited to be here. Excuse me. Young, eager, excited, intellectual, no neck. First in, last out.
The high perfectus turns around as you enter and goes, young literati. Always
perfectus,
eager.
Yes, sir. The emperor protects.
The Emperor protects. Today is a wonderful day for all of us. I've called for 2 other of your colleagues. They should be here shortly, I believe. And as he says this, another one enters the room.
I think that is that's Livia will enter into the room. It is about a early 20s woman. She's about about 5'6", 5'7". One thing that you notice is that she has the bearing and kind of like the health of someone who has basically, you can tell right away that she maybe comes from resources. Uniform is brand new, well styled. Hair is a dark brown with blonde, just tied in a pretty severe braid in the back. Hair put together. And she has a looks like a breastplate of ivory and gold, just like covered in all sorts of religious imagery, scripture, all that.
Livia?
Miss Livia.
May the Emperor's benevolence be upon you.
Emperor benevolence upon you too. We are just missing the last of our little group this morning, and then I can announce this wonderful, wonderful news.
Oh. If it comes from you, I know it will be indeed wonderful.
Oh, it not only comes from me, but comes from the benevolence of the God Emperor.
The God Emperor himself? Oh.
As with every...
Important.
Yes. I apologize. I am a bit too eager here, and as he turns around to pick up both of your recaps that have gone somewhat lukewarm during these past 3 minutes, the last of our strike team, let's call it that, enters the conference room.
You would see a man, perhaps in his mid-30s. His head is nearly shaved down. His eyes are almost expressionless with a hint of purpose to them. The clothing he wears is remarkably like the other clerks. It seems like there's no fuss, there's no like specific or personal accoutrement. If it were timed to shifts and the crowd were moving, it would be very easy to lose him in it. He has just one of those faces. It doesn't seem to bother him. You would also notice a small scar underneath his chin. Noticeable enough that it can definitely be a detail you pick up on, but he doesn't seem to show it any sort of sensitivity or acknowledgement. He doesn't wear it with pride, nor does he hide it as some sort of error from his past. It's just an experience that happened to him that he accepts. This would be Lax Myers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to say that I have like a number behind my name, like like Charles III or something like that. I am actually Literati Zariel, the 565th number.
Lax, nice of you to join us. Please, people. Here is your recap. It has cooled. That said, let us not... Wow. Let us not dwell on the woes of lukewarm recaf. And please sit, for I have a message for you.
To the God Emperor, his benevolence heats even the lukewarmest of the recaf.
To the God Emperor. Davis takes a sip.
And to the High Prefectus for providing us with this recaf on this day. May you also be praised.
Worry not, this recaf was taken out of your weekly rations.
Thank you very much for your accounting and its precision.
He motions for you to sit down on the leather-backed chairs around this table. It's not the first time you've been invited to the conference room. More often than not, there's way more than 3 of you inside. In fact, it's often so packed that the crowd just basically pulls out of the room into the corridor beyond, and whoever is not, at least a half hour early is sure to miss out on most of it. As you sit down, the High Prefectus puts his hand on the table and says, "Please rise for our daily meeting."
Black stands.
And Zariel stands, but whips at attention as if perhaps he's been in a military academy for quite some time, or an orphanage, which is almost the same thing. There's like a real, just right there.
Black stands like it's a daily stand-up, and he's just going to say nothing to report, and then sit back down at the end.
I have received an urgent message that I would like to relay to you. 3. Rejoice, for you are the lucky few who will get to experience the wonders and majesty of the act that is collecting 5 centuries of back tithes. How I wish I was still young enough to go planetside with you. But the honor is yours. for you have proven yourselves amongst the best of my retinue. Now, if you would look to... Oh, yep.
I was looking at a detail. Lax takes a long sip of his coffee mug as if his boss has just announced that they just got a last-minute project and they're the lucky people who get to deal with it.
And I look at it like we just got the biggest honor that has ever happened. Like this is the best thing that could ever happen to anyone. To be entrusted with so much trust.
Here's a really new important project and it's due in a week. Good luck.
That's amazing.
There is... Please, Literary Zariel, contain your joy.
Yes, I Perfectus. Yes.
There is a planet. And he taps on like a section of the table with his finger. You hear the just little like clickety of his nails, which have all been replaced with various size ink pens. And he taps on it, and you can see the hololive sort of attempt to spark to life. And after a few attempts, he says, the machine spirit will not cooperate. Damned tech priests and their promises. We should always rely on good old analog technology. I have foreseen this event and left on the table for you all the information I am about to divulge. If you would look to Form 637-B/031.1, I believe it is the blue page for those of you who need color coding. There is a planet in the western reaches which we should arrive to in maybe less than a cycle. It goes by the name of Tintagel 5. It is a hive world, or at least, well, you can see in the appendices, if you so choose to read them later, which I highly encourage, that the settling of Tintagel 5 did not go as planned. One of the many obscuring nebula blocked the way soon after the first ship of settlers made planetfall. I do believe it currently has 2.5 billion inhabitants in 1.5 cities. These informations are certainly outdated and will need to be put up to date. There is no time, unfortunately, to run a census of the whole planet, but if the governor is a good, a loyal citizen of the Imperium, they should have done their work and would have a list of, at the very least, the most important citizens of their hives. I hope for them that the second hive was at least built and ready to house anyone who might want to move to Tintagel 5. I have sent the proper forms. You do not need to stress yourselves with this. But refugees from the many war-torn planets of the sector are allowed to move freely onto Tintagel 5, but this will take place in its due time. For now, if you would turn to page number 3, you will notice that the governor of Tintagel 5, one Governor Huelgoat Breast, sent out a message through their astropathic choir to the administratum saying that they've encountered a delay with the tithe and were asking for help from us and a regiment of Imperial guards to quell a popular rebellion. Now, this message was sent 500 years ago. I have no clue. Yes, Zariel. You have muted your Voxcaster, my dear.
Sorry, Hyperfectus. I was just wondering if this is... they were late on their tithes 500 years ago. I would imagine the interest on that would be quite excessive.
Astronomical.
Okay.
Now, Tintagel 5 has this peculiar issue in which its population soon after first landing are, for some reason, unable to produce the mutant we call psychers. Their tax, their tithe, is thus not in manpower and psychers to be sent to Terra for the glory of the Emperor and to power the light of the Astronomicon. No, they provide a more simple tithe. Solars. The money that is then used and distributed across the worlds of the Macarian sector to see to various needs, be it the maintenance of weapons of war or of important infrastructure. Some, of course, go back to us to grease the wheels that hold the machine that supports the entire Imperium.
For the Imperium, for the God Emperor.
I do not believe that we need to send them a regiment of Imperial Guards. Hopefully, Governor Brest has been able to subdue his rebelling peasants for the past 500 years. But still, they do owe their tithe, and now has come the time to collect. And you, my dears, have the honor of being the ones to announce the glorious news to Governor Brest.
Hyperfectus, is the governor expecting this glorious visit from us?
They do know that we will make planetfall at some point. They do not know when, for the messages were very complicated. We had to rely on old methods. They do not have an astropathic choir anymore, which means that if you wish to reach me, communication might be a little problematic. Fear not. Should you need help, I currently have a pair of low-ranking adepts currently undergoing training. They should be available soon after you've made landfall, landed on a planet. Out of game very quickly. The interns will be available from next week onward.
Interns.
They've been created. I just didn't want to introduce them on the first, sessions. But I can give you their names if you want to. They are on page 122 under the section that says this is the form, the requisition form for additional manpower. I've taken the liberty to scratch out men and put people power. These documents have not been updated in ages. That said, there is a section there, section 8B, 8B2, which does denote that should you require help from these low-level adepts, their wages will be taken out of yours, as it proves that you are not yet quite capable of undertaking the task at hand. I will not hold it against you should you ask for them, but just know that their entire wage for a month will be taken out of yours, which equates to, and he types on his little typewriter, a grand total of 12 solars. Now, just so you know, I don't remember exactly how much the patron makes. 12 solars is like an hour of work for you.
Some solars matter more or less to certain people.
Yeah, some among you do not care about 12 solars at all.
Yeah. No. Like the mention of like any sort of money, any sort of like solar just doesn't get a reaction out of Livia.
Oh, I could increase my wealth by 50%.
Oh, so that means I can just use them as I wish, because 12 swords, whatever, Whatever.
If we do use them, Hyperfectus, we will train them and make sure that they too will be a great asset for the Adeptus Administratum. All hail the God Emperor.
For the God Emperor, I cannot think of a better tutors than the three of you. Mork and Gen 9 will be, I hope, enthused to work at your side should you need them. For all intents and purposes, Mork is spelled M-O-H-R-K. And Gen 9 is Jen-9. When
shall we make landfall, Hyperfectus?
I was told less than a cycle by our navigator, but you know how it is. I will inquire in the meantime. Please, as they say, pack up your bags and await at the shuttle bay. The Emperor protects.
Emperor protects.
Emperor protects.
The Emperor protects.
And he will begin to type out every word he said during the meeting, every word that was said on his typewriter, as the paper, is printed out in the back with all of the, in high Gothic, all of the, meeting minutes. Mm-hmm. On this, long scroll that will then be given to some servitor or other to be filed properly in one of the many filing cabinet that probably occupy half the space of this ship. You are not fireproof. There's so much paper on that ship. Basically, everything that you have on your character sheet, unless you wish to leave certain things on the ship, I will assume that this is what you've packed to land, to go on into L5. Do any of you read up on the mess of papers that he handed over with
absolutely
the many appendices and
yes,
100. I mean, it is our job.
But also,
yes, but I don't know how diligent you are at your job.
Oh, that's the demeanor at which Lax approaches. I mean, it's our job.
There it
Very
goes.
Diligence.
Very.
I would like, if for those of you who do read it, if you want to make a lore or linguistic check, it's going to be an easy check because you are, after all, this is, as Lax said, this is your job. Which means because it is an easy check, if you do have at least one advance in it, you'll succeed automatically.
Oh, cool.
And if you do not, you make the skill with a plus 40% to whatever number is written there.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think when you roll, it's not going to ask you. I think, you have to change it at the top of the sheet and change it to easy.
Oh, I see. It's a challenging +0. This isn't forbidden linguistics, is it?
No, it is not forbidden linguistic.
But as long as you have one advance, it counts, yes?
If you have one advance, you succeed. You don't even need to roll.
I would like to note that I take half the time because I am a data delver. I just like zoom through this real fast. This is just the best thing ever. I love paperwork. I love a lot of paperwork. I like huge stacks of paperwork. I love all the little numbers in there, and I just inhale this paperwork as if it is glory itself, which it is.
I think everyone succeeded, right? Test adjusted to Laxmite 3 level, 3 success level, 3 success level, and of course success level for sure on Zariel's part. So I'm just going to regurgitate information about the planet because you all succeeded with enough margin that I will give you everything. I'll just read down the notes that I have. The hive city that you're going to is called Aquileia Secundus. There seems to be mentions of an Aquileia Primus. It's not so much that any information on that hive has been redacted, it's more like the pages are completely missing. They're scattered all over the document. Enough that someone who would, read very quickly would probably not pay attention to it. There is a second hive city, the half, basically, because he's, what was his name? Obed? Perfectus Obed Kilgant. Perfectus Kilgant mentioned 1.5 cities. So the 0.5 is the one that was being built, called Aquileia Trius. There is very little information about it aside from a list of proposed locations for the hive. Tintagel 5 is a temperate world. It has one moon. It was settled during the Macarian Crusade. Has been left mostly autonomous. Has, at least as of 500 years ago, had not known war, which is a feat in itself. Were it some form of, pleasure planet for nobility, that's different. But in this case, it's a planet made to house people, and there should have been, maybe at one point or another, some form of either minor war between, local nobility or anything. But Governor Brest seems to have held down, like with an iron fist, his entire planet. Mind you, it was just 1 billion. It was only 1 billion people, it's not a whole lot. That said, the planet was given a machine. Built from parts of an old reclaimed STC by the Tech Priests of Mars. This machine is called the... I believe it is a Fabricator. A Publicanorum. sometimes referred to as I was going to say 3D printer, kind of. Sometimes referred to as a semi-autonomous building construct. It is not inhabited by any abominable intelligence. It works by itself. It is, in a way, the most treasured thing, like the most important thing on Tintagel 5. If you were to nuke the entire planet, this needs to be saved. The lives of the billions of people that live on Tintagel are worthless compared to this machine. And again, it's it's not even a full STC. It's a wonder from the tech priest, and most of the information about it has been redacted. There is a note left by Kilgant in the margins of some of those redacted pages of him getting increasingly frustrated at the tech priests for having censored this information, having gone over his head to censor it. In the great, hierarchy of everything in the Empire, they are allowed. It's not something that would be special, but he seems to harbor there's no love lust between him and the cult of the machine. Aquilia Secundus. Yep.
I make a note of everything that is redacted, trying to guess what might be missing, so that perhaps I might be able to find that information and give it to the High Perfectus as a gift, a tribute. I'm going to make note of what we don't know so that I can find it.
The Hive City itself is separated into, again, according to the map, 3 major sectors. There's industrial, then there's worship, and then there's administrative. The worship sector of the planet, from what you can see, 500 years ago anyway, was currently building a cathedral to the God Emperor, and to some extent Saint Macarius, even though this is border, let's call it apostasy for now. Macarius is still worshipped by a lot of people in the sector, but his life and deeds are... Some people will decry that he did not do enough. Others will say that he did, and he settled an entire freaking sector. Conquered, I should say, an entire sector, and kept it safe. But others are saying that he never went... he basically stopped short of what he should have done, and the fact that he essentially drank himself to death should discredit him as a saint, because the last decades of his life were spent doing things that the Lex Imperialis sort of frowns upon. That said, there is a section about the lack of psychers. Nobody knows why. It seems to just be genetic lottery. There are other mutations on the planet. There's a list of tolerated mutations, some of which are very, very basic, like a redhead. That's fine. Apparently, there is an entire clan of people who settled on the world who have no feelings in their fingertips. Sort of clan-wide small mutation, and it was, at the time anyway, marked that they should be sent to work in factories where they would have to basically shove their fingers in very dangerous machines at the risk of losing them, but they wouldn't feel the pain, so if they crush a finger, it should be fine, right? Tintagel was furnished with 2 Imperial Guard regiments to begin with, as well as the half a precinct fortress worth of Arbitrator. Arbitrator is being the cops, basically. Think about like the Judge Dredd level of cops. There's like about 50 of them that were sent there, and the 2 regiments, they did not have any weapons of war per se. Like, there's no tanks, no walkers, no titans. There are vehicles, of course, like civilian vehicles is fine, but they never expected anything on the planet. In fact, as of the time of your documents, the planet is like about 30% of the planet has been explored. It's separated into it's like a one like Pangea type of continent, but separated by a sort of a dangerous, let's say, a dangerously steep and treacherous is the word I'm looking for. Treacherous chain of mountains. There's this huge mountain range that basically kind of like the spines on the back of a dragon, lizard, whatever you want to call it. Like a mohawk on the planet, if it were punk.
That's very punk.
Yeah, and basically, it wasn't important yet. The priority was set on Aquilia Primus, basically. And that's everything I have to tell you about it.
But Aquilia Primus is not really in existence, is that right?
That's the thing.
It was not all of information.
Aquilia Primus should be the hive where everything was concentrated. So when I talked about like the precinct fortress, the cathedral and everything, it should be built there, but there's no mention of what exactly were the plans for the city. Where is it supposed to be located on the planet? Nothing about that. It's as if it's where the great Publicanorum was supposed to be installed, and yet we don't know where that city is.
Is the governor in Aquilia Secundus then?
The what? Sorry?
The governor, is he in Aquilia Secundus then? I mean, you'd think that he would be in Primus, right? That would make sense, but no?
Right now you are going to land in at the spaceport of Aquilia Secundus. It's the only hive that actually has a spaceport.
Shouldn't the Primus also have a spaceport, theoretically? I mean, it's number 1, right? So it should have like a spaceport and maybe like lots of paperwork for us to review. It should be nice, right?
It should. But even your pilot, who's bringing you from the tip of the pen to the planet, they've never been given any codes or coordinates for Aquilia Primus. They do have the ones for Secundus, because this is where, that message was sent 500 years ago.
Right.
Your shuttle breaks the atmosphere, goes through a thick layer of yellow-green clouds, and descends upon a planet which from afar looked lush and green. Approaching, you realize that most of the color comes from the water. The oceans are this sort of lettuce green, kind of. This sort of very bright green to some extent, not radioactive green, but A shade that is peculiar and not encountered in many places. And of course, if that is the water, then most of what's natural is like tinted in green. Aquilia secundus. You see it. A big round, yep.
I'm just wondering if maybe our pilot could give us a tour. I mean, do we have to go straight to the city right away? Can we get a flyover at all?
You will land, and if you want to fly over or have a tour of the planet, you will have to requisition it yourself.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot there's paperwork for that.
The governor is waiting for you. All right, hang on tight. We are landing. I will just add, though, as you fly above the hive, just before you land, you notice that an entire sector, imagine, for those of you who played Final Fantasy VII, imagine like Midgard. Right? It's a giant, the hive is circular, and it's just built like atop, entire sectors have been built atop one another. It looks like a giant inverted beehive. But there's one chunk of it that has clearly sunk multiple miles, if not tens of miles, if not hundreds of miles below, leaving this sort of hole in the middle of the hive. Nothing was built to cover it. Give me just a second. Yes, black acrid smoke is belched by the many factories, and you can hear as you step out of the shuttle the great hymns being chanted through the gargantuan pipes of the great cathedral. All over the city you have these brass pipes that just end, you know, in like a trumpet kind of opening. They're everywhere. They are massive. You notice one of them is currently being worked on, and the people on it, it's a few ways away, but the people working on, like, on that opening, they look like ants in a trumpet. When you do leave the shuttle, right in front of you, this is like a paved with white stone sort of circular platform that leads, it's just a single path that leads to the governor's palace. There is a group waiting for you. I will show you on roll 20.
Oh.
Boop.
Oh.
A woman is at the forefront of this group. She is flanked by multiple sycophants and entourage or whatever it is. They are dressed regally. Clearly the clothes that they are wearing, she has this sort of brass and adamantine corset, almost like an armor in a way, with holy symbols where the bones would be on the corset. These are written in like prayers, one by one. She wears a high collared cloak of white and gold that just flows behind her and is sort of held to prevent it from touching the ground. On each corner of this cloak is held by a black cyber cat that just has it in its mouth and follows the person around. You do not see her legs. They are covered completely by her dress. Mm-hmm. But from time to time, you do see as she walks the glint of something metallic in the sun from under her dress. Other than that, the governor has her hair put up in several layers of buns almost, and to top everything and to sort of hold everything together, there's this slab of gold from which pipes are protruding, and they connect to the base of her skull or go further down into her back. The people around her are plump to say the least. No one in this retinue has wanted for food ever in their lives. Typical nobles, you've seen them in many planets. They are, to some extent, very bland for nobility. And as she walks towards you and just bows a little, the woman introduces herself as Governor Magarim Karhaik's Plower. Well, let me do it again. Magarim Karhaik's Plower Imbrest. Welcome to my planet.
I look immediately at our noble. I'm just right over there, just looking at our noble.
You have received. Oh no, go ahead.
We are honored to be greeted in person.
Well, it is the least I could do. I trust you have received my great grandfather's message.
Yes, we have.
This is neither the place nor the... Nah, it's just neither the place, I guess, to speak of these things. Come inside. I have asked my servants to prepare quarters for you. I will be waiting for you in my study. You can ask any of my servitors. They will gladly show you the way. These quarters, I trust, will be to your liking. If should you require anything, do let me know.
The Emperor protects.
The Emperor protects.
I get the sense that she's being genuine.
Aha! Can you make a rapport roll with the... Do you have any advances in rapport?
No, I do not.
So I'm going to say do rapport with a plus 20. So it's a routine rapport roll.
So it's going to be a bit of a coin flip here.
You know.
Success.
Wow. 2 success levels.
At
2 success levels, this is a... Where's my page? Burp. It's just a yes. Okay. It's not a yes and.
Yes.
She's worried. You're not quite sure if she's worried about if you like your accommodations. If she's worried just simply by having you on her world, or if she's worried about how things are going to go from here. Like, is she apprehensive at what you're finally here after 500 years? You get the feeling that it would be logical for her to sort of wonder what the Administratum is going to do, what your decision will come down to. But that success, she is sort of withholding information. You don't know how benign or important that information could be, but you do get that sense of she said just enough to placate you for now in front of the crowd.
I catch Adelina's eye and I kind of give her a slow nod that indicates from our past work together that there's a little more going on here. I don't make any motion to our golden retriever of a recruit who would be very, very adamant about finding out what's going on.
I would. If I knew that, I would, because, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, right time and place. Honestly, Lax is actually kind of glad that Literati is on the team, because that means there's someone else who's going to keep things moving, and he can just kind of lean back and observe a bit more cautiously.
Yeah, people meet your eyes and just kind of like in confirmation, like, yeah.
And I'm looking at everything. Like, I'm just like, what is here? What is that? Just like, I don't say it out loud, but I'm excited to look at all the things.
As you're looking around, you notice there are these servo skulls, flying banners. They left the governor's palace a bit after Governor Magarim finished talking, but they are holding these banners in their teeth. That spells in very big letters so that everyone can see. We welcome the Administratum.
And I just you have to see it in your mind. They're doing this like eye conversation, and I am noticing the banners. And the minute I'm about ready to turn to like indicate the banners is when they've just finished. And so then I turn to them, but they finish. And I kind of like gesture towards the banners, like, it's us. Oh,
Suppose we should get settled then.
yes. Your Grace. I sort of gesture for Livia, so that Livia may go first.
The governor was not aware of your status, Livia, by the way.
We will keep that as an advantage.
So your accommodations, of course,
in case
are...
we need that. In case we need this.
Yeah. Okay, this is a luxury hab unit that you have within the palace. It is 15 square feet.
Oh my goodness.
Each one of you...
Are you serious?
Yep, there is a single bed that retracts into the wall that can turn into a table. It's like this nice, like, revolving thing. There is a window. It's about yay big, but it is a window that gives out onto... Since you are atop the highest spire of the hive, of course, it gives out onto the world. You just see the lush plains and forests of Tintagel 5. You do not see the mountains because the mountain range is in back of you, but it is still glorious. In the way the window is built, you cannot see the world under you. It prevents you from looking down at the dirty peasants and their black smoke and their dirty faces and mutations and all of that.
Sorry, did you say that's 15 square foot, like, just for all three of us together? Or you don't mean like each one of us is 15?
Per person.
Are you serious?
Yeah. You can lie down on your back and just stretch all of your limbs, and you do not touch the walls.
How does this compare to our usual accommodations on the ship?
I grew up in an orphanage, so...
Well, okay, the ship is different.
Okay.
In the ship, you sleep in the locker. Essentially, a like, let's say for a low-level administratum clerk, there, I looked it up last night, and it's... What is it that they say? It's like 10 square feet, kind of.
Oh.
I'll pick up the image that I saw, but basically there are... Have you ever seen those one-room apartments in China?
Yes.
That's what you have. That's usually what you have. On the ship, it's a little more cramped because the class, the filing cabinets, the databases are a lot more important than the staff that's on it.
Obviously.
As it should.
As it should be, yes.
But here in this case, this is a lot of room. To Adelina, who, has grown up accustomed to having a real estate, you do not need to roll anything. This is clearly an attempt on the governor's part to ingratiate herself with you, because this is just enough luxury for what you would consider an administratum adept to normally think of as they think of luxury or royalty and everything. But
it's rank appropriate luxury, not like overly.
Yeah, that's it. Rank appropriate luxury, but know that this is not the type of places an aristocrat sleeps in.
Of course not. It'd be weird if they. It would be strange if they.
Just a double check.
Yes.
When you say 15 square feet, do you mean 15 by 15 or just 15? Because that's like
no.
Like
it's like I'm sorry.
It's
like an 8 by 7.
Gotcha.
So this is exactly how aristocrats live. I have never seen anything this luxurious before in my life. I feel a little uncomfortable but then, if I become a rogue trader or have my own mech or something, then this will be what I'll be staying in my whole time. This is amazing. I'm going to just kind of sit down on the bed. I know.
Yeah.
Just...
I mean,
the bed.
I think Eileen will enjoy this because it's a little trappings of like home that she doesn't enjoy on the on the ship. It's nowhere close, but it's echoing what that was.
Yeah.
The bed is just hard enough, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yes, Lex
is taking out. How hard is it to hide a sniper rifle on your person?
Considering that you know how to basically take it apart, you can hide the various pieces on you with a successful, because it's a sniper rifle, right? So this is going to be a challenging stealth roll. If you have any specialties that could apply, let me know.
I have 2 advances in stealth.
Well, that's fine. That's just going to up your your base chances. But do you have any like specialties that apply to like hiding stuff on your person?
No, I don't.
Okay, so then just give me stealth.
Challenging, you said?
Yep, challenging stealth.
Okay, I guess there's a difference between them knowing I have it and me just like getting it in here.
Essentially, they don't mind you walking in with a gun, by the way.
Oh, okay. Then just walking around with it, but disassembled?
Walking around in the palace with it out might be a problem.
Right. Oh, I'm rolling well today. I should play with Warhammer more often.
Okay, so you can write down on your sheet that someone needs at least 1 success level to spot your because you succeeded by like 1 success level of margin, so they need at least that or more to see it.
Okay.
And their check is going to be challenging, just like yours. So it's...
But yeah, Lax is kind of just humming to himself as he's taking in all these weapons. Because I came in with like 5 or 6 different weapons. So I'm just like taking out the weapons, disassembling, reassembling, making sure everything is working, given the type of work he normally does in the administratum.
You ponder, about the interaction you had with you think back, I should say, on the interaction you had with the governor earlier, and you realize now that coming out of the shuttle is a let's say a regal woman, someone whose posture is straight, stands strong, tall, probably has a good like decided step. And then she's flanked by these 2 literal armories of you with all of your weapons, and then just a mountain of muscles and weapons. And you wonder if that was what was stressing the governor out.
I didn't notice, actually.
Hopefully it's nothing. Better to be ready.
I'm going to take out my my writing utensils. I'm going to look out over, this beautiful view we have. I look at the maps that I've gotten from about the planet. I'm going to just start sort of trying to match landmarks and places, do the best I can to sort of orient myself from here in the map, so that just in case we need to, it'll make it easier for later, I hope. So I'm going to just spend a little bit of time after I sit in the bed. It's pretty amazing. Just looking out at the big picture window and coordinating. We've got to be able to do land nav in case we need it.
Can you give me difficult awareness?
Or how about navigation?
Not yet. Awareness first.
Yes.
The
Right.
window is sort of blocking part of your view, and that's something I want to.
Yes, awareness.
Yes.
Success. 1 success level.
Nice. Okay. You notice in the way that the trees part in the distance, in the way that the land seems to have been flattened in places, and then you crane your neck enough to see that there is indeed, or use at least to be, a highway leaving the hive city to go elsewhere. If you ever need to make a navigation check while out of the hive, like if you leave the hive to go somewhere, at least following where that road would lead, you can mark down that you have a plus 20% to it.
And I would imagine we'd have data from 500 years ago, including, I imagine, exceedingly out-of-date maps of some sort.
This is the route to Aquilia Secundus.
Oh, but
if you're on premise, that would be Aquilia Secundus. But you are on Secundus.
Right, so that would go to Primos. But it looks...
If it would stand to reason, if everything is mirrored, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to note it, but I'm going to note it, by the way, using Adeptus Administratum as shorthand, so that random people who are not a member of our glorious backbone, the glue of the Empire, would not know what we're saying. It's like shorthand. I memorized all of that, by the way. All the little...
I mean, you have, like, perfect
acronyms.
Memory type of thing. And as the three of you prepare to meet with the governor, we're going to take a tiny break. Like 2 minutes. And when we come back, we'll sit down and kind of figure out what the hell's been happening here. Stick around, everyone. We'll be right back.
For the Emperor.
For the Emperor. And we're back. Olivia will leave and go to the cathedral. She has a few religious services and obligations that she needs to fulfill now that you're planetside, which will leave Zariel and Lax as the negotiator. Oh, wow.
For the Emperor.
For the Emperor. So that's permanent, right?
Yes. Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, of course.
I love the Emperor. I mean,
The fastest tattooist in the city.
That's right.
And it healed very quickly too. Wow.
Well, the Emperor protects.
Yes, but the Emperor doesn't tattoo fast.
Emperor can do anything. Simon, you should not doubt the Emperor's
I
powers.
I will self-flagellate later. I
right.
apologize. Back to our castle and to our spacious rooms. You do know that Governor Magarim will be waiting for you. You can take however long you want. It is up to you and the message that you want to send.
Right. Yes. And use my data, my Vox thing, to just get a hold of my pal, my buddy, Lax. My Vox speed.
Mm-hmm.
Lax, this is, I don't know if you recognize my voice, but this is Literary Zariel, 565th. Do you hear me?
There's a slight pause. Yes, Laterati. I hear you.
How long, what time are we supposed to be there? I want to be there 5 minutes early. Because 5 minutes early is 5 minutes late. No, on time is 5 minutes late. 5 minutes early is on time. You know what I mean. How long do we have?
The governess expressed that we should make ourselves comfortable before meeting her in the study. As
Right.
such, whenever we decide we're ready is time. Are you ready, Laterati?
I'm always ready.
Good answer. You hear a distinctive ka-chunk of a gun being loaded on the other side of the wall. I'm ready too.
I will meet you outside this gigantic room. Have you ever been in a room this large that was one that you were going to sleep in? I have never. Oh, it's amazing.
The second the two of you open your doors, you are met face to face with a pale-skinned servitor. For anyone at home not knowing, servitorization is a type of penance, mostly undergone in perpetuity by a criminal or a, let's say, apostate, because heretics are killed, or sometimes servitor. Anyway, they are basically automatons now, people that have been lobotomized and reprogrammed for a single task for the rest of their lives. They will serve the Imperium, and when their body is completely deteriorated, they will probably just use their bones to do something else with it. A servo skull is a good example. And so these ones, despite their mechanical implants and sort of slightly misshapen, grotesque form, they have like they're dressed in like ill-fitting butler outfits. This black jacket over a white dress shirt, but it might just be cut down to just show what needs to be shown. That's it. They do not wear pants. Instead, both of their legs are just completely mechanized.
Huh.
And they're looking at both of you dead-eyed.
Praise be to the God Emperor.
Please take us to the study.
Command not recognized. Command recognized. And he turns. He starts walking.
Sounds heretical.
The two of them will walk up to the steady, stop a few feet short. You have arrived. They 180 and they leave.
I've got like shotgun. You know, there's not a small number of weapons, not slung. But then and like a sword, like you know how nobles have swords. I've got one of those too. I've got a sword. It's pretty amazing. I'll open the door first, just so that to keep Lax safe in case anybody jumps out.
As you open the door, you mentioned something that is interesting, because you said, "Do you know how nobles have swords?"
That's what I've read.
Do you know what nobles usually have too?
What?
Guards. And you haven't encountered a single one.
As we were walking down, did I notice any people?
You have heard voices coming from behind closed doors.
Ah, okay.
But you have never
That's
seen
normal.
a single... You are the only armed people that you've seen since you've landed. And in the study, the governor is equally alone. With no bodyguard, no escort. Her by herself, pacing back and forth, a tall glass of amasec in her hand that she's sipping, like taking a tiny sip every other step. Her cats are nestled around a fireplace. Her cloak has been left on the back of a high-backed chair. A throne, mostly, I should say. The rest of the room has basically the entire surface of the walls are just portraits of various people, all bearing a resemblance to Governor Maledictum. Her portrait above the fireplace is unfinished. It's been painted maybe like a third of the way. The rest is just sketched. Kind of odd to leave that there, but anyway.
Lax is thinking this does not bode well for the tithe.
I'm thinking, is this how nobles do? Because I'm going to become a noble at some point in time, and should probably figure out what this is like. Praise be to the Emperor. The Emperor protects it. Is nice to see you today, Governor. You are looking gubernatorial. It is my pleasure as the one of the representatives of the administratum to greet you. The person who normally talks is at the cathedral, as is right and fitting.
I've been made quite aware. You can dispense with the titles and the niceties. I am but a servant of the Imperium.
As are we all.
Please, sit. And as she says that, a part of the wall opens up, and two servitors come in with intricately carved wooden chairs with a little, like, white and gold cushion on it. They put them down sort of in a triangle pattern around with the throne, basically. And they exit into the walls, where you notice there seems to be like, it's in the blink of an eye, right? But there seems to be like an entire labyrinth in back of that wall of corridors and such.
I see what
Unlit.
Lax does, and I do what he does. Like, I don't sit until he sits. I'm just going to follow his lead because
I take the seat offered.
That I do too.
And I will just subtly comment, a bit short-staffed today, are we, Governess?
You could say that again. We've been short-staffed, as you say, for the past... Oh, I don't know. 75 years?
Oh.
As you are probably aware, and she sort of straightens her dress, even though she's sitting down, with like one hand, the other one holding the glass of Hamasek. My great-great-grandfather Governor Hugo Brest, and she points to one of the portraits on the walls. It's a authoritative looking man with like the big, thick, black waxed mustache, the monocle that's been just forever implanted where his eye used to be as like an ocular implant. He's wearing a wig, sort of like a toupee that the painter has tried as best as possible to sort of blend in with the rest of the head, but you notice there are several scars that start at like where his scalp would be and just extend to God knows, Emperor knows where. He is holding a black cat, similar to the cats that you see there, though this one does not have any cybernetic implants of the sort, but it does have like one golden tooth. And he's looking down at the room, or at whoever looks at the portrait, really. My great-great-grandfather, Governor Hugo Brest, sent out a message now 500 years ago. Almost to the day, really. He encountered a slight problem with collecting the tithe that year. I know that it's supposed to be done once every decade, and I apologize on behalf of the Brest dynasty for having waited until the last possible minute to fulfill our obligations. I can assure you, dear members of the Administratum, that I am not like my great-great-grandfather. In fact, I think we can help each other mutually. I do have the entire tithe that you need, including interest.
Wonderful.
I am, however, faced with a slight issue that you must have been made aware. It was part of the message that I don't know who received it, but I guess they must have passed it down to you. And she's like waiting for a reply.
I look at Lax.
Or like a.
I look at Lax.
I stare blankly at her to keep talking.
Well, I guess some messages end up falling through the cracks after all.
We don't actually lose paperwork in the Administratum.
I didn't mean it this way. Sorry, what?
Consider it a verbal report.
My apologies. It's just as part of the plea request, and by virtue of accepting it, you have agreed to fulfill the Administratum's part of the request. It's a strange demand that my ancestor sent out. I do agree, and well, as I said before, I am not him, and I would do things differently. That said, the rebellion that prevented us from paying the tithe on time has been quelled in the past centuries. However, other issues have arisen, and I am afraid that I cannot give you access to the tithe until these are resolved. And I figured that by sending you, the Administratum was well aware that there were other issues that needed fixing, and that you are the people sent to fix them. Am I wrong?
Above
look at
board,
Lax.
is that just like standard procedure, or are they asking for extra help?
So, yes and no.
This is my first job, you know.
Yeah. From what you know, asking for help to, like, secure a tithe, like, which is the case often with psychers. Your ship is not equipped to hold psychers, so you don't really take care, you don't really handle those cases, but you've heard about them, where they round up, a certain amount of psychers on a planet and send them on the black ships to be sent to Terra. There's usually like a contingent of trained soldiers, if not people that are completely immune to psychic powers, to round those sorcerers and witches and bring them aboard the ship. It's not uncommon to ask the Administratum for help, mostly because the army belongs, like it in the hierarchical chart, it falls under the purview of the Administratum. That said, normally, if such a demand was made, it would have been filed, and the High Prefectus would have made you aware of it, unless he's purposefully hiding information or part of the message never reached you. It's unusual, but not unheard of.
Governess,
Yes.
You have power. Don't be ashamed to use it. You are well within your rights to make this request. However, the proper paperwork hasn't been filed. Literati.
Yes.
Did you bring the extra forms like you usually do?
Yes, I did. And Zero pulls out a data slate full of a lot of forms, but also, just in case this might be necessary, also it's like one of these like a metal clipboard that has like an open, like you can open it with, also it's like a writing kit with also forms on paper version. So whichever one, and I just pull out, and it's very exciting, data slate forms, writing kit forms, and I'm like, I have them in both. I was like, whichever you prefer, if you would like them. We have them in triplicate and paper format. We also have them in digital formats. And there's if you're wanting a request, that one is Form 164 BC 3, and I believe that's this one here. Nope, from a governor. That's actually 164 C.
She looks slightly bemused at your enthusiasm and just turns to Lax and say, I can see that you take your work very seriously.
All hail the Emperor. And I hand over both the digital version of that form and also the paper version. And I get it. And there's like a pen. It's nice. I mean, I don't think she would think it's nice, but I think it's nice.
She takes them with one hand, holds out the other one that holds the Amasek up, and just taps the glass 3 times. A panel in the wall opens up, and a servitor comes out with a tray for her to leave the glass on. It has a nice crystal bottle of Amasek, and as she looks down at your form, she says, it might take a little while for me to fill them out. Would you mind? And I will fill the requisite forms after, if we have a verbal agreement first. And then
What is the mission?
A verbal agreement.
What's the mission?
Specify.
Oh, specify.
There is a new revolt going on in Aquila Secundus.
Heresy.
There's
Yes.
a small smile spreads across Blax's face, which is usually very, like, neutral. Not like your grandfather, huh? Great-grandfather.
This one is slightly different. It stems from problems that the Administratum can resolve. You see, we have had a shortage of nutrients for quite some times now. But we do have a granarium filled to the brim with food. Food that could be distributed to the serfs and the peons and the workers of my fair city. And that would go a long way to quell their anger.
We in the Administratum, if there's one thing we are good at, besides paperwork, it's the gathering and distribution of resources in an efficient way with accountability in all forms. This is exactly what we were made for.
Though I assume accountability is not what's preventing you from accessing this nutrients.
The food stuff that was sent to us from a non-conventional distributor, and as diligent citizens of the Imperium, I thought it more cautious to not touch the food stuff. Some of the crates that were delivered bear a what is it? Sorry, I need to check something. The mark of boop, boop, boop.
Scanning.
The Dark Angel chapter of the Space Marine.
Another above table question. Is it kind of factional, the different factions of the Warhammer universe? Is it kind of like everyone does their own thing and they're kind of rivals, or do they try to get along?
Let's not go into like the intricate politics of like Space Marine chapters, but in general, all of the Space Marines belong to the Administratum. Y'all are in control of everything except the Inquisition and the Tech Priests. And the church, but that's it.
Cool.
The thing is Space Marines are the Emperor's angels. They are these almost like heroes of tales. They are also murderous monsters who will not hesitate to destroy and kill at the slightest provocation. They see heresy, or they see conspiracies behind everything, and it's better for them to just, shoot a bolter bolt into someone than to actually bother investigating. Now, I'm generalizing a lot. They're not all like that, but due to that reputation of them being invincible warriors, you don't want to piss them off. And it's a lot more prudent to just not touch anything. And if that food really was meant for Space Marines, if they steal it's
risky business.
Yeah, it could be, a good excuse to just destroy, like bomb an entire planet.
Cool.
When was this grain delivered, Governor?
We received it on 654 of the year 895. Can I geek out about something?
Yes,
Sure.
please.
So if you want to know which date of the year this is, 654. So you have to take that number,
654.
divide it by 0.1140795.
Whoa.
I'll
Okay.
put it in chat.
Like, didn't...
Because it's funny. I geeked out on imperial calendars. I don't know why.
Is that what
654 divided by 0.1 something?
Yeah, I put it in our chat.
Gotcha.
0.114. Honestly, after the 114, it's depends on how like precise you want to be. But I figured
Everyone
you guys
together
want to be
now.
precise.
Everyone pull out your calculators.
And then
Got
that
mine.
new number, you divide it again by 24 because 24 hours in a day, right? In our day anyway, IRL. And this should give you that number you'll end up with is the day of the year plus or minus a day. So like if it says like 365, then it means it happened on December 31st.
Huh.
I got 238.
238.8. So
You have to round
I
down.
got-
Well, that's the thing. Hence the plus or minus 1 day, right? If you round down, if you round up, that changes. The equation is
That would-
mostly done normally on the opposite. Like you take a date, like, oh, which day would I've been born in the Imperium, and then you take like your birth date, and then you do everything in
Our Lord
reverse.
and Savior, the Emperor. August 26th, according to Google, is the 230, the 200, the number we came up to.
Which day was it?
August 26th, I think.
Cool.
My question is, what year are we talking?
The year
this year,
895, which is 98 years ago.
895. So, just question.
Yes.
How's our preservation in the 40k universe? Because that was 95 years ago, right?
Yeah. Some stuff can be kept for centuries.
How about grain?
Some can't. It might not be grain. And she did say nutrients and food stuff. So it could just be like chemical powder that's been, vacuum sealed and is just waiting to be, mixed with water or whatever. Corpse starch, for instance, takes a while to go bad. But it does go bad because organic matter tends to, decay over time. But there's so many things that it could be. The problem is, as Governor Magaram puts it, she didn't want to open even a single crate.
Right.
Because that would be a problem. So she requested as part of, where she was hoping that as part of sort of the agreement between you and Tintagel 5, in exchange for, she will give you the tithe with, the interest payment, back payment, everything. But could you please allow them to distribute this? Now, I'll go back to Governor Magaram. She's talking. Now, that would be the first part of the issue. The second part is...
I'm going through requisition forms, like looking through the forms is what I'm looking through at the moment.
I trust that you've been made aware that our planet holds a... I am loath to call it a holy relic, but it is some miraculous archaeotech, I believe. The Great Fabricorum?
Yes.
We are aware of this.
It ceased to function centuries ago.
You broke the holy relic?
I cannot. Oh.
I was not alive back then, and you can see immediately, like, she turns white at that accusation. And she says, I was not alive at the time. This happened in 893, 2 years before we received the foodstuff. In fact, we thought at the time that my great-great-grandfather's message from 400 years ago at the time had finally reached in Minstratum, and you had sent someone to help. We could not send any message to the tech priests of Mars as our last astropath died, and as you know, there are no psychers on this planet, and I do not know if any one of you are touched by such magic, but if you are, you would be the exception at the moment. That said, it's unimportant. The Great Fabricorum over time broke. I do believe that there was no sabotage in none of the records that I could find. It's just the demand. It was asked, after all, to build an entire hive city. And as wondrous as that machine was, it could also create organic matter if needed, which is where we got most of our food from. But a mix-up in the commands made its machine spirit go haywire, and it ceased functioning completely. It would refuse to be awoken, would not hear any prayer, any litanies. It even refused numerous sacrifices that the tech priests had organized. What
What
followed
have you been eating
was
for the last 97 years?
we do have agrizones across the planet. It's just they are not enough to feed the people of Aquilia Secundus.
What happened to Aquilius Prumus?
That is tangential to our problems.
Well,
let me finish.
Factorum. Oh, please, of course, Governor.
Yes. 20 years ago, almost to the day, a simple serf, whom I've been told goes by the name of Garbin, claimed to have repaired the Publicanorum. It is now known amongst the rabble of the city as the Divine Operator. Garbin, as far as I am aware, is not a member of the clergy of Mars. Whatever he did to that noble machine is not sanctioned by the Imperial Creed. I am certain of it. But the rumors speak of the machine being able to produce material again. We've had 8 decades of food riots. They would spring up like weeds and my arbitrators would put them down. Over time, the rabble overpowered even the arbitrators, and I am now left with a scant few people. Thankfully, members of the upper sectors of the city are law-abiding citizens, and crime is almost non-existent on this side of the hive. My issue is, even though I can feed my people, if Garbin is not dealt with, if the Great Publicanorum is not brought back to a more loyal part of the city, then I am afraid that I cannot pay the tithe.
Where is the Factorum located?
It is in a sector of the city that is now known as the Bad Sector. You must have seen the gaping hole in my hive as you flew down onto the spaceport. Have you? Unless your shuttle is not equipped with windows, I do not mean to presume about the wealth and resources.
We certainly have the ability to see when we fly, and we did see a very impressive sinkhole.
Please continue, Governess.
Sorry. Answering. It's going to be easier to answer from chat. I don't think the governor knows about the fact that Space Marines can eat literally anything. But the Space Marines also many chapters, and I looked it up, even the Dark Angels. Yeah, what they were shipped is something that I don't remember which book it's in, but they do eat, like, when they want to eat something that actually has like taste. I'm not going to say what it is. I'll let the players discover it. But yeah. All that to say, the giant hole, the gaping hole in my hive, that is the shadow of the Bad Sector. Several years ago, one of my proctors thought it prudent to just collapse the entire upper ways onto the bad sector so that we could get rid of all the malcontents in one fell swoop. The tech priests assured us that the Great Fabricorum would not be damaged. Not by this anyway. I believe the chances of the Fabricorum being slightly damaged would be next to nil. I think 5 zeros after the decimal and then 1 something. I am good with big numbers, not small numbers. Anyway, it did nothing to quell the rebellions. The rabble fled the sector before it was brought down. They moved the Fabricorum with them. And now that this entire place lies in ruin, they moved the Fabricorum back, or so I've been told.
If this garbage was able to actually get the holy relic working, then why is there still food riots? Sounds to me like maybe he's a liar and a heretic.
It is said that Garbin renamed the Fabricorum as the Divine Operator, and they are working with the Divine Operator to achieve something called the Grand Design. I have contacts in the bad sectors, arbitrators that have been sent and have survived since. One of them, a good, strong, loyal arbitrator by the name of Sarida Tox. I'm going to spell it Sarida. That's her first name. Tox is her last name.
So, your people are starving while some heretic spits in the face of the God Emperor by claiming divinity and doesn't even feed these people, if his thing even works. Seems like his paperwork should be cancelled.
It seems like his existence should be cancelled.
But that's what I meant.
I am unfamiliar with administratum jargon. I apologize. I didn't wish to correct you. That was not my intent.
Enough of the vagaries and implications. Governess,
What?
you requested a verbal agreement.
Yes.
Please make the request.
One moment before you do. All right. I'm ready.
In exchange for the entirety of the tithe, freely given to the administratum by the governing body of this planet, I need you to stop this rebellion. By
It seems
approving the distribution of the food from the granarium, we're going to stem the tide of anger coming from the rabble. But until Garbin is dealt with, I'm afraid that it's just going to slow the the coming of the next revolt. Those are the two things I need you to do for me. As my great-great-grandfather before me, I am begging the administratum for leniency and aid.
Got all that, literati?
yes, sir. And aid.
The tithe must be paid.
And it will be. It is in a secure location.
Lax doesn't like being the decision maker, because that usually implies a certain amount of responsibility for things that go poorly. But he is currently the most senior person in the room from the administratum. It is agreed.
We'll make sure that the paperwork is arranged.
We do need you
And,
to finish the paperwork.
Yes, I will. I definitely will.
It's also very important. If you'll notice, I've given it to you. There's a third appendix, and in the third appendix, there are actually 4 different spaces for you to initial on like the third paragraph. People always forget those right there, and it's actually really quite important that those in the very third appendix that you initial all 4 spaces. It is important.
If you have any questions, Literati will be happy to assist you.
She doesn't even take the time to read and begins initialing.
And I just stand near her, probably a little threateningly, but I don't mean to. It's just I don't have a neck, just to make sure that the paperwork is done correctly, because I have learned from my high prefect that these things are very important. So I'm just going to make sure. I mean in a friendly way, but you know, probably.
Do we have like a
friendly?
Do we have access to like a record of some kind with us? Like,
I'm
thinking if the supplies that they wish to use have been marked as lost or otherwise like missing or like accounted for in a sense where it's been accepted as a loss, it would be fine to allow them to just use them, unless I'm missing some kind of inner world kind of
no,
rules.
actually, you it is something that is entirely. Where's my character sheet for the patron again?
Yes, I'm thinking we might need to talk to our patron but we don't have a
Yes.
reliable communication and we don't have our interns yet.
You would have to send a message through, like, basically Vox, from the planet to the like high orbit.
I have a box sender with me. We can just
so
paperwork.
What would happen is you could lower your influence with your patron by 1.
Oh, I see.
And he will requisition everything that's needed. Basically, he would sort of ask the Administratum for everything, regardless of... he would pull strings, is what I say. He would pull strings regardless of his rank or your rank to get what you need. However, that is going to sort of like... your patron's going to take a hit. And by default, you will also take a hit.
We will also take a hit.
Is there anything we can do to help that along? To be helpful.
Oh, in that case, it's really not a question of what you can do. It's really just he's got a lot more pull than you do. It's basically the mechanic of going through the patron to get something. And in this case, it is literally with this very faction. Because it could be with a different faction. I still have to make a roll for it. And I am trying to look, as I vamp for time, where it is exactly that I need to get my stuff. I know it's in the patron chapter. I'm just... No, those are liabilities. We do not want liabilities. There we go.
No.
So, what you could do, that would be using your patron's influence on a roll, but that's not exactly what we want.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Here's what I'll let you do. Either one of you makes a... Where's my sheet with all the skills on it?
I've got logic. That helps.
It wouldn't be logic in this case. It would be...
It'd be stealth, of course.
Of course.
To fly under the radar and avoid our boss's wrath.
No, in this case, I would say presence or rapport.
Oh,
and you would start with basically 3 success levels because of that influence. So if you don't want it to go down, you have to make that roll, which will be challenging. You start with 3 success levels, but if you fail by a certain margin, then, I'll take away those success levels. And if you still have 1 at the end, then it will not consume your patron's influence.
Ah,
Okay.
right.
Well, my rapport and presence are severely lacking. One would say I'm built for the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot. I've actually, I actually served. I don't know if you know this. Well, actually, you do know this because it was because of you that I was in the position to save our patron, and also I mean, I could certainly, I would be honored if I could send in the call, and I have the paperwork already. I could do that if you thought it would be all right.
I can provide you with a Vox servant.
I actually have a Vox caster. On me. I think it's always important to be able to get a hold of your patron because their wisdom.
We appreciate your offer to be helpful.
Yes.
Literati, have more confidence. People like your zeal. We need more of that in our work. Go ahead and contact our patron.
I will do.
And I will hand you a form that I pulled up, or I don't know, data pads. I send over the form
I've got both, actually.
the looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have it. Oh wait, it's on our character sheet. We don't have it, right?
Yeah, that's slate. It. If you might not have a data slate because you're
I'll go over to your data
slate.
Type. Yeah. And then I will scroll over to the form that I'm looking for, and it's like I'm thinking will solve one of our issues.
Oh,
and you'll see it's a like a form that like accounts for supplies that have been marked as losses to be repurposed once rediscovered in the field or something. I'm making a lot of this up. Like the real government now.
Yes.
Put on my tinfoil hat.
And I like go over to my data pad and I start like filling out that form as well and make sure that everything is signed properly. I start putting together a message to our high patron in the most ridiculous and excited and golden retriever kind of way possible. And I will make the rapport.
All right.
You got to get along. You got to get along well with people. So this is what, challenging?
Yeah, we'll leave it at challenging. It's just, again, you start with 3 success level. I'm taking out success levels as you
do less
if you fail.
Right. And we do have fate, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
we need it.
You can yeah.
Okay, let's find out. Impressive failure. That's terrible.
Right
now we would fail because your 3 success levels from your patron would cancel those ones, and you need at least 1. So it's not just a question of succeeding. You need to succeed a bit more, like +1.
What did you roll?
I rolled a 76. Is that right?
Yep. And
right. This is one of the systems that you need to go under, not over.
Yeah. So hold on. I have got fate though. I'm gonna look at page 220.
You can use it to re-roll.
Question:
that's what
Can you use fate multiple times, or is it just like once, one more try?
So it depends for what. Like giving yourself advantage on a test before it's rolled. It needs to be before you roll it. But like adding success levels to a test after you've rolled it. If you want to burn all of your fate spend it. Because burn is permanent. If you wish to spend all of your fate points to give yourself a bunch of success levels afterwards, sure, it's cumulative. The thing is that is sort of depending on what happens in the course of the session, that might be risky.
I will spend 1 fate point to reroll.
Okay.
I will spend 1 to gain advantage on this test before it is rolled.
Well, that's 2 fate.
Okay.
Oh, but you're like fated or something, right?
No, that's him.
That's him. Okay, that's Lax.
Yeah. I will mention that during the break I asked Simon if I could have retroactively used a fate to get a +1 success on my stealth to hide my
on your already successful check, yeah.
Yeah, so now they have to get at least +2 or +3 to see it.
They need 2 and above.
2 and above.
So they basically need to succeed by like 20% or more.
Gotcha.
Which the average person has a 1 in 10 chance of succeeding.
Okay.
So I just put in regular at advantage. Yes.
Yes, regular advantage.
Okay. No superiority because
you're not in combat.
Sweet. Awesome.
You gain superiority by imposing the
Punching
fear of the
people?
God Emperor into your enemies.
Oh,
Out
I
of
love
curiosity,
that.
is there a help system in this game as well? Like, if I wanted to provide assistance, I don't think I am going to now, but it just occurs to me that I don't know.
I think you need to have at least one advance in the skill.
Give me a check.
See. Give me a second.
Okay, that makes sense. Then you can't just everyone can't just chip in to help whenever they want. You need to have
no, that's it. You sort of need the
level of expertise.
Kind of have it, yeah.
I see. I see. Okay.
Just need to getting help. So basically, is if two of the characters are working together, the character with the highest skill makes the test with advantage.
Nice.
Right.
To assist someone, you must usually have at least one advance in the skill being tested.
Okay.
Okay.
Depending on what it is. Like in this case, I would say yes, but if it were to just I don't know, lift a heavy object.
So that's a failure by -1.
Yes, but you have 3 from your patron, so it goes down to 2, which is 1 more than I needed for it to succeed.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
And I would like to point out that I have made all of the requests, and I made sure all of my T's were dotted. No, that's not right. I's were dotted, T's crossed. I spent a little bit of extra time. I give all the paperwork because I know that our patron has very strong feelings about making sure all of the paperwork is exactly correct in every way. And I sent 4 copies, not just 3.
So what we will do, because it would be dramatically appropriate, it will take a few hours. You'll basically get your information by sundown. If there isn't anything else that you want to do at the moment or speak with the governess or anything like that, we can just advance the clock. I'd like to hand her my list.
I'm just going to hand her my list of redacted information about the Factorum and see if she has the answers for them.
Oh, yes, we are going to continue this scene. There's a great many information that I can't give you on the Publicanorum as I have never seen it. It was taken over by Garbin. Well, I was born at the time. I am only 35. Would you believe it?
Well, you look good for someone of your age.
Thank you. I was but a child when this happened. My father never really told me what this machine could do, and once it was called a divine operator, he just burnt with rage at the mere mention of it.
Understandable.
We had so many arbitrator even during my youth that father would take me to the bad sector sometimes to hunt down rebels. It's our way to contribute, and I am not a bad shot myself. She says, sort of her eyes darting from one weapon that you're wearing to another on both of you.
That is good service to the God Emperor. I notice you're not armed. Is that custom or governors here?
Then for you to have not noticed it means that I did a good job.
Oh.
I nod like I knew all along.
If you want, you can make a it's challenging or difficult. I'm just going to look it up. Well, basically, make it challenging, and if you succeed by 1 success level, it works. Even because it would be 10%, so difficult would work. Weapon traits, yes.
What roll is this?
Awareness. I'm sorry, awareness. I said it in my head.
Oh, I failed. I'm just lying.
I didn't look. I was excited.
Yeah, Lax would have tried to take a like a kind of a purview of the room. So if she was equipped, he didn't spot it. So
Yeah, the room itself doesn't seem to have any like hidden sentries or turrets or stuff like that. You look at her and you don't see any weapons on her, or I should say, a lot of what she's wearing could in itself be a weapon. Her corset, you're fairly certain is actual
Explosive?
armor.
Oh.
No, but it's probably like a it's too thin to be made of carapace. It could be mesh. It's definitely not flak, because it would show. It's the typical, guardsman armor, the green thing. Everyone knows it, everyone sees it. However, the thing she has on her head, the pipes and everything, it could be like some form of not very protective power armor.
Oh.
Because it would protect only it would protect her vitals.
Yeah.
And her torso. And maybe the sort of like the flak that she has that holds her hair together, it could be some form of like camouflage battery for it. But as far as weapons, nah.
Well, you must be an impressive fighter. Much respect.
My brother was the better fencer.
Oh. I've studied fencing myself. That's the art of the noble.
Indeed. Which family are you from? I did not know that. Well, I've been told it's some scions of noble families sometimes serve in the administratum. Most of them are with the church, but I am surprised and delighted to see another member of the nobility here.
Oh, I'm not yet, but I will be. I just need to do great deeds, and then I will be able to ascend to such a spate. But I am a graduate of the Schola Progenitor, so I'm on my way.
She glances at Lax, and Lax, you can see concern in her eyes.
That'd be nice to the one that's handling your paperwork.
I'm afraid you are several years too late to meet my brother and spar with him.
Oh, that would have been a great honor. Well, I thought
Great Publicanorum, to get back to your redacted information.
Yes, thank you.
To paraphrase, basically, there's a few things, like maybe like a fifth of what's been redacted she can confirm. It's her version of things, right? So how true is it? You don't know.
And I imagine some of these things are actually really quite minor and trivial, because people redact all sorts of things when they get really ridiculous, right? It's just like, because he's like, I just got a new word, right? It was...
So one of the redacted information was the fact that the Publicanorum can actually move.
Oh.
It's on threads. Should you want to have a mental image of what it looks like?
Yes, please.
Do you remember the big, like, tank thing that the Jawas would drive around on Tatooine?
Yes.
Not really, but I'm about to.
Yeah, it's like a giant box on wheels. It's like
More like a
hunk of
trapezoid?
metal on threads.
Oh, huh.
Yeah.
The Publicanorum apparently looks kind of like that, but is a bit more round in its shape. It normally, the way it produces things is that it can quite literally poop the stuff out as it continues on its way. So say you wanted it to create a wall, it would just shit the wall down as it moves and then just build it like a 3D printer, layer by layer by layer. She did hear her grandpa at some point mention the acronym STC. but she knows that she wasn't allowed to say those letters in the presence of a tech priest. Apparently it's a big tantamount to almost heretical thinking or saying.
Do we know what that is?
Hey, can you give me a lore check?
Lore check.
I didn't eat a lot, but yes, absolutely. Lore check. 100%.
I said lore, not lard.
Is it
Well,
challenge
also,
hello,
or
Raiders.
Impressive
I
success.
do see you there.
That's me. Hi, Raiders.
success?
Mine is 3 skillables because I really do care about paperwork and reading. Try to get
Probably
as smart
comes
as possible
from word of mouth.
so that I can be a famous.
Trooper,
Yes.
you've achieved a yes end result.
Ooh.
Is that good?
So
Or is that bad?
You succeed, and then there's something more, and I want you to tell me what you want to have more as information.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All
Do
right.
you want me to give you the basic first?
Basic first. Yes, please.
Okay. I'm going to talk not in game terms, because it's a lot easier than to try to go into the verbiage of what an STC is. It's a 3D printer.
Nice.
But
nice,
it
nice,
is
nice.
an AI-powered 3D printer that can create, and that was built originally to create buildings and entire communities. It contains within itself blueprints and recipes and all of that to create stuff. So in itself, it has like a bit of a creative power because it can create you basically shove like all the natural resources in and it's gonna spit out what you need. But you still need to sort of put it together. One example of an STC that was discovered. So basically this happened like 20,000 years ago. Those machines are all destroyed now. Apparently there's like a chapter of Chaos Space Marines that say that they have some on hand, but whatever. Yeah, it's a colonizer. The Land Raider tank, I believe, or it's the Lemon Rust tank. I'm not quite sure, but it's one of those two like giant tanks that you can buy from Games Workshop at like $80 a piece. Big tanks. They used to not exist until the tech priests got their hands on a schematic of one. It's the Lemon Rust. Thank you. I should know. Space Wolf. Until the tech priests got their hands on it and were like, yep, this comes from an STC, so it's not heretical. We can build it. They consider any recipe, any blueprints from an STC as a gift from the God Machine. And I resent that roller. And so this is technology that is allowed to exist. Yeah, there's an STC that just prints out combat knives for Space Marines. The dudes that found it each received a Paradise Planet to rule over as a reward. Thank you, Salaskin.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big thing. It is a big thing. I wasn't kidding when I said if you guys chose the faction of tech priests for the game, that would be that was the ideas I had for the campaign. But the Great Fabricorum is not an STC. You know that from the forms that you've read before, the unredacted things. It seems to incorporate part of an STC. What does that mean? Who knows? Like, did they find like the shell of an STC, standard template constructor, and just like use like the pieces of, because it's made out of rare metal now and alloys and such. Did they just like pry those pieces apart and just like build another machine with it? Could be. It could also teach you sort of like theoretical concepts, like how to create electricity from like water, like hydroelectricity. Like how do you do that? How do you How do you achieve like nuclear fission? Like, just let's go. We're doing it. There are no real SDCs that are left alive, and it's the only thing with an AI, an abominable intelligence, that would be tolerated in the Empire. I mean motive force. I mean motive force. Yes, I apologize. But you see, that's why I'm talking out of game right now, chat. Because otherwise I would need to use all of those freaking archaic terms that, like, they're fun in game, but it's just way too long to say out of game. But yes, all praise the great motive force.
I'm a Warhammer newbie. Thank you, Simon.
Well, it's kind of the goal of the game too. Like, anyone who doesn't really know Warhammer, we're gonna introduce them and then we're gonna convert them. I actually have shares in Games Workshop, so 1% of everything you buy because of me goes back to... That's not true. That is not true.
Question about implications here, and how things work. So if there's like STC parts, presumably there'd be recipes and plans, and if some other guys got their own planet and they got to be nobles, then if we had it, we could be nobles, right? Can you just make a copy? I'm just asking for a friend, not for me.
I'm
just asking for a friend.
Literati likes to dream dangerously.
If you do find an actual STC and retrieve it and everything, like, you're a freaking hero of the Imperium.
I could be a hero of the Imperium? Do you think I could meet the God Emperor himself?
You could meet him, for sure. Definitely.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
But you cannot create an STC from another STC.
We just have to take that one.
But
Well, it's
is
not
it?
STC.
Is it? Because if it were... Wouldn't there be like an extra hive city on that planet?
I know, I'm still trying to figure out about the last one. We'll just find out. I mean, I'm just noting, right? There's a, okay. But I get an and, right?
You get an and.
Yes. And the and cannot be, and this is an actual STC and we're going to have it.
No, that's not exciting. That's not a good and. That's a bad
It's waiting
and.
for us back in our rooms.
No, that's a bad and. I don't like that and. What a good and.
It doesn't fit in a 15 square foot
So
room.
is this and like establishing a truth, or is it asking a question? Like, what's the limits of an and?
Yeah,
I'm curious.
Tell us about the and.
So,
Like,
the
in the,
book
like, if you had an
says-
example.
the way the book says it is, you achieve your goal with style and exceeding expectations. But I don't want to read yes and like that. We're all, veteran role players. We've done improv. We know what the yes and type of thing is. So if you want to introduce a truth, go ahead.
I would like the and to be
If it's a question, go ahead. Yep.
that the governess, despite the fact that he is actually not a noble, but he did go to the military academy. Like, that was pretty great.
Yeah, the Schola Progenium, which is...
Yeah. Right?
Yep.
That she thinks I'm charming. At my golden retriever status, she thinks is charming, despite the fact that I'm not technically at this moment a noble.
She likes her moxie.
Because of your enthusiasm and your knowledge of things that even her parents could never tell her about.
Which I share, of course.
I will give you +1 influence with the governess.
Oh!
The governor. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, until you use it, or until you lose it for some reason, but still.
And he's just gonna golden retriever around and, like, we all know we have to go, but he just wants to, like, be helpful and learn things. He's very excited. He wants to, he is a bit of a golden retriever, and then we'll kill heretics. I mean, if we were told to, that's the governor. So yeah, he's just gonna, like, kind of go through. He's gonna go through the paperwork with her, make sure everything's signed. If there's anything that, like, she doesn't know that would be appropriate, to share, he would. Like, it'd just be like a very a lovely meet cute over many, many, many reams of paperwork. That's all.
I did have a question for the governess.
Yes.
You stated your terms, which we've accepted, but there was a detail I was curious about. What do those leading the revolt want?
What does the rabble want normally? Down with the aristocracy, a complete upheaval of the social structure that has been found to be the only functional structure in society. It's been tried, it's a tried and true solution. It's been handed down by the emperor himself. The nobles lead, the rabble toils. They do not enjoy their place in the world because we all have a duty to the Imperium.
Yes.
And their duty is to help my planet satisfy the needs of the Imperium. And if they stand out of... Nope, Nightbot, we don't have a Legend Keeper for this game. If they stand out in a way, then they can rise above their station. The rabble's faith is lacking, yeah. I am a fair governor, and I will admit that the lack of food was a problem. I do admit it. I did not starve my people on purpose. But I will not go in front of the angry mob and let them know this, because they will... I would invite upon myself such violence that I dare not think about it. They would rip me apart. And the problem with the rabble following a demagogue is that they no longer just want to sit in the very chairs you are sitting in. They probably want something that is equally as bad as starvation for them. They are just blinded by the honeyed words of this Garbin.
Heretic.
I agree with you. It is heresy.
Government.
Many of them, though, I would say. And I know I cannot demand this of you, but I would ask. A great many of them are just misguided. They would be productive members of society. If you can show some mercy to them, I would appreciate. My world is already bereft of much of its population.
Governess, I did not ask this question to question your character. I care about one thing. The tithe must be paid. Whether your cogs are rusty and cracked, it is part of your duty to the great machine that we all turn and turn in to make sure they serve their purpose. And we will help you, as we have agreed upon. But we do not do this out of kindness.
I would not expect it.
Oh.
You can see
Do it
that
for the glory of the Emperor.
Sorry, what?
You do it for the glory of the Emperor.
Of course. You can see in her lax that she's now clearly uncomfortable. And she will excuse herself if you do not have any more questions for me, I will fill out the rest of the paperwork in my quarters.
Oh, well, if you want help with the paperwork, I'm an expert at paperwork. I've been working on this for quite some time. I can always help with the paperwork.
I will
Because
make
it's
sure.
important to get the paperwork right.
I will make sure to ring for you if I need to have any of these strange terms explained to me.
My pleasure.
I definitely want a copy of whatever she puts down in the request in the report
Of
to have
course.
that information on hand.
Yes, sir.
Ah.
I'll have 4 copies, of course.
Gentlemen,
I'll give you one.
the
Governor?
Emperor protects.
Emperor
The
protects.
protects.
Have a good night. And as she leaves, the panels in the wall open, and the 2 servitors from earlier walk up to you, and we'll just pull the chair out from under you, unless you prevent it in some capacity.
Look, stand up. Oh. Well, Emperor protects, servitor.
Yeah, I'd stand up.
They don't even say a word. Their eyes, like their gaze, is like glassy and empty, devoid of life, of anything, of reason, of cognitive abilities.
Yeah, machines that look like men.
Yeah, and they're probably just programmed to clean the room when she walks out.
Well, Lax, you want to take a tour of the city? We could walk around, see what it's like.
Not a bad idea. Why don't we make our way slowly to the church? Meet up with our third.
That's a good idea. By the way, we just met a governor of a planet. That's amazing.
We did.
I can't believe that. That's the God Emperor smiles upon us with his angry protection. Always.
I'm realizing that you're just like one step above the interns.
2. A step and a half.
Yeah.
It's on the payroll.
Yeah, but it's just, I keep forgetting it's Zariel's first real sortie.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is, as you walk down the plaza of that separates the what did I say, the palatial quarter sector?
The
so what separates
industrial, worship, and administrative.
Yeah, so there seems to be more than one section now.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
But it still respects sort of the map of Aquilia Primus that you were given. But as you cross basically the plaza, your Vox bead will sort of not screech, but will
beep.
No, not beep. It goes like static.
Oh, nice. Oh,
and can you message for sorry, received information requested. Sending.
Hello. Yes. Hello. This is Literati Zariel, the 565th. Here.
The messages end.
Better reception.
Did you really give your data slate to the governor?
No. I give her the paperwork.
Okay, the paper.
So I've got a data slate.
So then your data slate beeps to life. The small machine spirit inside just awakens as you receive a message.
Got a message.
It is the information you requested before.
Ooh.
Of the one I said you would have at the end of the day?
Yes, our interns.
No, not the interns.
No, the missing supply.
The missing
what
supplies.
status are they? What status
Yeah.
does it have?
So guess what? They're not in the system.
Huh. Oh, they probably then marked it as to make sure no one messes with it.
Well, the contact that your patron has, that Prefectus Gilgand has, did attempt to communicate with the Dark Angels, but they haven't received any news about them. But as far as that shipment, it's a ghost shipment.
What do
She
you mean
did
by
say that it
ghost
came
shipment?
from unconventional means. So by
Yeah.
unconventional means, so who knows? But no
Lacked it.
planet has marked like, hey, all of our food tithe is gone. That never, well, I mean, it did happen, but over the course of history, but it never, never for
Okay.
this particular case.
So either it's not related at all, and it's been marked using the name to provide cover so no one actually messes with it, or perhaps it was traded from a different place, and because they're selling or giving away their food provisions, they don't want to report that officially, so they marked it as accounted for. In either case, it sounds like it's free and clear then.
But aren't you sort of implying that maybe it's not even actually grain or nutrients? It might be like a super weapon. That's
A super
full of-
weapon.
I don't know. That was the first thing I thought of.
Did you want to inspect the product?
Yes.
Did we get the location?
She did
No, that's being
mention
kept.
the granarium.
Yeah.
The granarium is a almost citywide sector of warehouses and silos.
Mm-hmm.
You have the numbers that you need. You know where it is exactly. To
Probably
go
see if we can
see it.
find
So the thing is,
the agent.
some of the food stuff, you're right, it could be, God knows where it came from. The thing is, if the ones marked for the Dark Angel were actually supposed to go to them, you need to fill out the proper forms to clear it, because you could go over their heads and just go, yeah, no.
I've got paperwork. Got a lot of paperwork.
But your suspicion is well-founded, Literati.
Ugh.
Do they know what's in those crates, or have they because they
never
were marked, they
opened
haven't
it,
touched
because
it?
if they
They never
opened
touched
it,
it.
it's against the law.
Yep. They never
Right.
touch it.
But now we know that even if it is technically what it is, then we can still re-requisition them.
Yeah.
Okay. But I find your suspicion well-founded, Literati. I believe it'd be in our best interest to collect Adelina and perform an inspection before clearing it to the governess. A show of good faith.
Thank you. Thank you, Lax. I
And,
thought that maybe we could find this undercover agent as well. Find out what she knows. But we should talk to Her Grace first.
Of course.
As you're walking down the middle market towards the High Cathedral, I have one last message on your Vox feed, Zariel, before ending the session tonight, but it is from the governess. She forgot to mention earlier that she can arrange a meeting with arbitrator Sarita Talks, should you want to.
The governess.
She
she's
knows
messaging.
where the great Publicanorum is, and she probably definitely could help.
I actually think this was just business. She says that she could make a meeting with us for the Sarita Talks, and that she knows where the Publicanorum is, so she could help. Hey, did you hear that the governor said that she's a good fencer? Like, a good shot is what she said. She was a good shot, but I bet she could be a good fencer as well, don't you think? But I would love to see the governor just, I don't know, shoot some heretics or something. But that would be amazing.
Were you expecting something other than business, Literati?
No.
Just make sure everything's accounted for.
Always. Sorry, that was too loud.
Why don't we do this then? Let us go collect Adelina. Perhaps she is finished with her missives for tonight at the church. We'll go perform the inspection. please inform the governess to set up a meeting tonight.
Yes, of course.
Goal,
Send off paperwork.
Solars do not rot, but it's not good to let them pile around.
Right. I mean, it would just raise more compound interest, and I'm sure this place not be as efficient if that happened. Paperwork. I'm sending out paperwork back up to our patron, over to the governess. There's a lot of paperwork.
There
and
is
extra
HQ.
copies.
The poor machine spirit inside of your data slate is just going, hey, calm down.
Oh, I can't calm down. This is so exciting. So much paperwork.
I find
you can see it sort of gets angry at you, and it refuses to send some documents as fast as it usually can.
It's okay. Come on now. The God Emperor. The God Emperor.
The God Emperor. I find that
out of game, it's just like a bad connection, but in world, you have no idea.
It's probably jealous.
And
what a beautiful night. Kill heretics.
As the markets light up and the very dead nightlife of Hive Aquilia Secundus begins, we're going to end our first session.
Hey.
I mean, it's very simple. You only need to do 2 things.
Yeah, that's it. Simple.
Yes.
And like, what could go wrong?
Warhammer's easy.
Famous last words.
Trooper, are you going to keep that for tomorrow?
I can make many of these with an STC. That's it. I've found an STC that will just make Imperial Aquila tattoos. I think that would get me a meeting with the Emperor, the God Emperor. God Emperor feeling was like pretty great.
I mean, it's
And, like,
probably
would
part
notice
of
me.
like the entire repertoire of things that an STC can show you. Like, please show me how to tattoo, and it will tell you how to. Like, if it's an STC that
Space
works.
Marine factory line.
I'm really excited for the Senpai to notice me, the God Emperor. It's so great.
Sigma.
The Emperor, my best friend, canonically.
Yeah, my best friend. Yeah.
Yeah, that's you could have done that. You dropped the ball on that yes and earlier. You could have just said yes and the Emperor is my best friend, and my hands are tied. Like,
Oh no! Oh, dang
that
it!
would be
I
if you
missed
were
out.
an orc. If you were an orc, you could literally just do that.
Nice.
That'd be a wild game. I won it, and it's real.
I did that on
Great
a different
first
stream.
session.
Yep.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you the raiders. I'm sorry I missed your entrance earlier. I was busy sifting through the many pages of this rulebook over here. So this is just so you'll know, this is my first time I actually GM Imperium Maledictum. I've GM'd Dark Heresy before. I've done a bit of Wrath and Glory.
Me too.
But yeah, I am basically just trial by firing it. And well, so far, I mean, it's kind of the same as WH40k, but I can't wait to get into combat because I really, really like the superiority system much more than the momentum thing from 4th edition fantasy. I'm still a big fan of 2nd edition fantasy, and if you ever see some Warhammer fantasy on this channel, it's going to be 2nd edition with like a few homebrew. But that said, thank you, and thanks for like all the new faces. Salaskin, Django Wolf, Sarah Trips, House of Dreams. No, House of Dreams, I think I've seen you before. But anyway, yeah, so nice to see new faces. We're going to do this every Tuesday until the holidays. This is basically the game that we have during our break from Gotham City Chronicles. We're going to have some more vigilantes later on. But before I go, I will throw the mic out at my players. Whoever wants to catch it, tell us who you are, where we can find you, and show some love for because there is no love in the Empire. So bring it, bring this spark of good feelings.
Thank you for pointing at me, Trooper. Hi, I'm Yutsai. You can find me on Yutsai at Blue Sky, because the other place is kind of hell. Currently, I believe this is the only game I'm playing in currently, but holiday season, everyone's kind of busy. Looking forward to more rolling dice next year as well. I swear I don't only play sneaky characters. I rolled completely randomly for this one, and it just became sneaky. So don't know if the Emperor is trying to tell me something, but I think someone's going to get shot. Was that it, Simon? Did I cover all the ground?
What do you mean someone's gonna get shot?
Well, I have like 4 different guns
Shotgun,
that were handed to
shotgun,
me.
rookie
I didn't
shotgun.
buy these. They were handed to me during character creation. Like, you're going to need these.
They probably belong to your predecessor,
That you took
who
them from.
did get shot.
Someone's going to get shot, and it might be me.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm Trooper SJP. I was playing Literati Zariel, the 565th, which makes him sound like a noble, but one day he will be in some kind of a way. And then Simon said there's no love, but I'm particularly certain there is love for the God Emperor, because the God Emperor is the best and protects us. Oh, so good. And there's only one God Emperor, right? And there's a space for all humans in the God Emperor's plan. It's pretty amazing. And I've been playing our was not meant to be an administration, was meant to be a bodyguard, but gets to be administration, which is so much better. So exciting. This is the best time ever, best timeline. Gets to do administration, which is the most important job in the entire Imperium. So he's pretty excited about that. And I'm excited about playing him. And I'm so sorry I did not have the tattoo in the first bit before the break, but I got it to work. And now it is here. And now I'm going to go to class tomorrow, just like this. Maybe, maybe not. You don't know. And then let's see. I'm Trooper SJP. Was so lovely. I want to give love to, I want to give love to everybody, but I want to give love right now to Yutsai. Or Yutsai's like, I'm like the don't look at me guy, but I've got a golden retriever. That's sometimes useful, sometimes not useful. All right, I'll do it. It was so good. It was so good. But also, clearly your character also loves the God Emperor, which is why we're friends. And just in our hearts. Yeah, you know how it is. And you can find me today's what? Tuesday. You can find me tomorrow, which is Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. over at Table Story for the first episode of Tidal Blades 2. If you've not seen Tidal Blades 1, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's a brand new situation, and I get to play a Turtle Boy. And then you can find me on Friday at 7 p.m. on my channel, Trooper SJP, for The Gamblers, our Traveler Pirates of Dragnex campaign, where we're going to see what it looks like on a irradiated post-apocalyptic surface world. That'll be fun. And also, I've been doing way too much thinking about random world building for that, and you might see some of it. You already saw a whole bunch of it last time, but probably a little bit more. And then I don't think of anything else over the weekend that's going to be streamed. So that's me. Love to Yutsai for just the all right. There's just so many really great moments. Like, did you expect anything different? No. Yeah. Lax is just the best. Also, you do not want to mess with that character because multiple guns, and also Lax is badass and dangerous. And let me see. I think that's all of it for me. I guess I will pass it over to Simon.
Hello. Yes. Hi, I am Simon at Wandering DM. I was your GM for tonight. You can find me over on Blue Sky at Wandering DM and bluesky.social. I don't know if we should say that. Like the at bluesky.social, I guess. We don't need to, but anyway, you can find me over there. You can also find me back here on Tuesday for some more Imperium Maledictum. Hopefully on Saturday. We've been having a lot of trouble with scheduling and all that for our Scion Birth of the New Gods campaign, where we are in the underworld trying to basically unionize, I guess, hell. Because that's a thing. And what else is there? The pledge manager for two of the games that I've worked on are going to open soon. I'm going to talk more about that when they actually do, but if you search on Kickstarter for Rayman, the board game, and or Vampire the Masquerade Chapters, the definitive edition, look it up. It might be interesting if you're interested in those things. And otherwise, I guess that's it for us. We'll leave you with the intro movie, but in the meantime, the Emperor protects.
Emperor protects.
Emperor protects.